No matter how many monsters I've analyzed on this channel, there's always one that ends up surprising me. And the back of this indestructible beast has a feature that makes it very special. Well, actually, it has two things that are unique in the world of smartphones. This is the new Ulefone Armor 30 Pro, and it has a versatility that I've never seen before in other rugged smartphones. And also, if you're someone who likes powerful audio and you don't want to carry a Bluetooth speaker with you, I can tell you right now that with this Armor 30 Pro, you won't need one. That's because it's built in. As always in these videos, or rather mini documentaries that I make about smartphones, I'm going to put it through some really tough tests so you can see what it's capable of. But for now, let's start with the unboxing. As we're used to from Ulefone, it includes a tempered glass screen protector, also a 66W fast charger, and a USB-C to USB-C cable. Honestly, a pretty sturdy one that will last a lifetime. It also includes a strap so you can carry it, for example, attached to a backpack. And now here it is, the brand new Ulefone Armor 30 Pro. This very interesting smartphone features two fully functional screens. It weighs a little over half a kilo, so it's not for everyone. And it's built with rubber as well as metal and glass. In fact, both screens have Gorilla Glass 5, and you can tell it's built with durability in mind, especially to be indestructible, for example, against drops. And also, as you can see, the screens have a raised edge so that when you set it down, no matter which side, they don't touch any surface. Also, the camera module is impressive. In fact, right in the middle, it has that huge speaker. And here you can see the secondary screen. And it's a screen that you can use as the main one, but also with several functions. For example, extended functions compared to the larger screen. The design, especially the back, really stands out and grabs attention wherever you take it. It's truly distinctive and will definitely turn heads. Now let's talk about the ports. Further down, as you can see, it has a microphone, a USB Type-C 2.0, all very well covered with rubber. There you have the holes for the strap. And this would be a kind of camera button, which is flush with this metal frame. It's a very striking orange with a certain texture. On the other hand, both the unlock button, which includes a fingerprint sensor for unlocking, and the volume buttons with a different kind of texture stick out from the frame. They are keys that feel a bit loose under your fingertip. On the top, it has another microphone, an infrared port, that notch, which is for attaching certain brand accessories, and also, thanks for still including it, a 3.5mm audio jack, unfortunately. Very few brands still include it. And on the other side, we have this card slot. You can add 2 SIM cards and a micro SD of up to 2 TB capacity. And look at that yellow rubber strip. And that's because it has IP69 dust and water protection. And hey, what's the difference between IP69 and IP68? Well, IP69 can withstand high-pressure water jets, like those from this waterfall. It would also have a customizable button, or action button as some call it, and it also has this magnetic dock where you can install several pretty professional accessories from the Ulefone brand. And this is how it would look in your hand. Honestly, it's pretty huge. It's not suitable for every hand. But if you like this type of smartphone, it really feels like something different, especially considering, as I mentioned, that back part. All right, let's talk about the screens, plural. The brightness of the larger screen is a bit lacking. And the same thing happens with the secondary, smaller screen. They're not the best brightness levels I've seen on this channel. The main screen is 6.95 inches Full HD Plus, up to 700 nits of brightness. Also, it has 10 bits and up to 120 Hz. By the way, both screens use IPS technology. As for the small screen, it's 3.4 inches, 412 x 960, resolution and a maximum brightness of 600 nits. Also, the refresh rate drops to 60 Hz. As for the main screen, I recommend always setting it to 120 Hz, since you can set it to 60/90 or automatic. But considering the large battery it has, which I'll talk about later, I recommend always keeping it at 120 Hz. By the way, the customization for the secondary screen is in English. Hopefully Ulefone will offer it in Spanish in future updates. And the thing is, the smaller screen can be used both as the main screen, as an additional screen, that is a kind of auxiliary screen, or even as an extended screen. And I think that in the future, Ulefone will keep adding more features to it, or at least that's what I hope. But you should know that both screens can be used completely independently as well as linked to each other so that the operation of one affects the other. And you can already see that this Ulefone Armor 30 Pro detects how you're holding the phone and ends up turning on one screen or the other. It's not the fastest in the world, but I recommend registering your fingerprint in both ways so you can unlock it as quickly as possible. By the way, something else I liked is that even if the screen is wet, both the secondary and the main one work quite well. Therefore, the controllers of these IPS screens don't go crazy, even if they're obviously wet, as you can see. And, well, regarding the quality of the screens, as you can see, they're not the best screens in the world for watching multimedia content, but they're more than enough. We're used to OLED screens with much more vivid colors, but the good thing about these IPS screens is that they don't have PWM, so you can use them for longer without getting a headache or having your eyes itch. Also, you can do it with a screen that's almost 7 inches or with one that's not even 3.5 inches. It's your choice. All right, let's move on to a section that blew my mind, and that's the audio. And that's because the speaker on this Ulefone Armor 30 Pro sounds like a standalone Bluetooth speaker. You're going to see it, or rather, you're going to hear it for yourselves. I'm going to compare it with this Vivo X200 Ultra, which is one of the best smartphones currently available, and I reviewed it on this channel. First of all, if you want to improve the sound, activate hi-fi mode. I recommend it. And now here's the audio test. And besides being an incredibly powerful speaker, especially in terms of sound, it's one of those you can hear anywhere. As you can see, it also has RGB lights that are extremely customizable. You'll see that later. And something else I like and found very interesting is the water drainage function. And with that app that comes pre-installed, as you can see, the water jumps around like it's some kind of popcorn, mainly because of the vibration that comes from this big speaker. And it ends up shaking off all the water droplets that stay on the protective fabric covering the speaker. Honestly, everything is extremely well thought out to make this smartphone truly an extremely durable device. Now let's move on to the hardware and software. There, as you can see, the fingerprint unlock is not by any means the fastest I've tried. It includes features, as I was saying, to customize these RGB lights on the speakers. They can sync with the music. You can activate them with notes. Also, it's extremely customizable, not just in terms of the color of the lights, but also how they are displayed. However, once again, the app is in English. Please, Ulefone team, make the special apps for this smartphone available in Spanish. As for the processor, it's a MediaTek Dimensity 7300EX with 512 GB of UFS 3.1 storage, which, as you know, can be expanded via microSD up to 2 TB. And the RAM is 16 GB LPDDR5 expandable, with another 16 GB of virtual RAM, so you can have up to 32 GB of RAM. In addition, it comes with stock Android 14. The vibration motor feels very powerful. 5G has worked perfectly for me, as well as Wi-Fi, GPS, and Bluetooth. And while it's true that for normal day-to-day apps you won't have any problems, when it comes to gaming, for example, that's where you notice the shortcomings of this processor the most, which is more about efficiency. That said, with this amazing speaker, honestly, playing games feels like you're using a dedicated speaker. Even if you play with the secondary screen and the speaker is facing you, this feeling is even greater. I should also mention that the secondary screen, the small one, with its 60 Hz, feels a bit slower than the main screen. Hopefully, in a future version, both screens will be 120 Hz. Regarding the cameras, the module feels really good, but out of all the features, it's the one I like the least. On paper, it looks impressive. Main camera with 50 megapixels, ultra wide angle with 50 megapixels, night vision camera with 64 megapixels, which I liked most, plus a 32 megapixel selfie camera. The maximum digital zoom it has is 4x, and it has some modes that aren't bad at all, like the Pro mode, which includes an exposure time of up to 16 seconds, one of the highest I've seen in rugged phones on this channel. And now, let's go to the samples. And as you can see, the reality is different. But as you should understand, this is not a smartphone focused on photography. It has other more notable features, such as the audio or that second screen. In daylight, it takes photos that aren't bad at all, but it doesn't have the best dynamic range, the best detail, or the best colors. Anyway, if you buy this smartphone, don't do it for its cameras. Here's video from this dual-screen Titan. This would be Full HD resolution at 30 frames per second. This is how its stabilization would look and how its microphones would sound. By the way, it doesn't let you set 60 frames per second in any mode. And this would be its maximum quality, that is 4K at 30 frames per second. Although in this mode, electronic image stabilization is disabled by default. And look, I'm trying to record in complete darkness with a phone that currently has the world's best camera. It's this Vivo X200 Ultra that I've already reviewed on this channel, and you can't see anything at all. There's not a single trace of light. However, thanks to the night vision camera on this Ulefone beast, you can see absolutely everything, as you can see, and with pretty decent detail too. And let's talk about the battery of this Ulefone Armor 30 Pro. This is something I really liked, 12,800 mAh with fast charging and charger. Included, in fact, right inside the box is a 66W charger. However, it doesn't have wireless charging. But thanks to that processor, which isn't too powerful and is extremely efficient, you can have a battery that lasts more than 3 days without any problem. Even if you're not someone who uses your phone a lot and you don't push that speaker too hard, you could even get up to 5 days of battery life. And now, let's get to the most important point, or one of the most important ones, and that's the price. How much does this Ulefone Armor 30 Pro cost? Well, as you can see, $516.99. It also includes a gift, which is a kind of tactical adapter. Also, you already know how the price of these smartphones fluctuates. I don't know when you'll be watching this video, but the price is probably even lower now. In any case, the link is down below in the video description. And what's my conclusion? Well, you already know that on this channel, I love to try out different smartphones, these monstrosities. In fact, I have a list with these indestructible smartphones. And I love it because unlike the rest of the smartphones, they give themselves the freedom to innovate, to do things differently. Obviously, it's not a smartphone for everyone, but if you've made it to this part of the video, it's probably because you're interested in this type of smartphone, or at least in the landscapes where I filmed this video. Either way, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave me a like so I can keep making videos that are different from what everyone else usually does. And now, if you have anything to say, leave it down below in the comments because, as you know, I love reading your messages. See you in the next video. Take care and see you soon.